So, here we are, and we are going to be playing Double Dragon 2 on Game Boy. You might not have any idea what this game is, and that is honestly the proper reaction. Most people are pretty unfamiliar with the Double Dragon games on Game Boy. They think they're just like facsimiles of the NES games, and they're not. They're their own thing, it turns out. This game is a reskin of a Kunio-kun game, so if you play the Japanese version, it's mostly different, but it kind of explains why the game behaves the way it does. It's not quite like a Double Dragon. We're going to be doing a lot of the same move over and over again because it gives you a lot of moves, but most of them are trash. So you're going to get to see a lot of me doing uppercuts and stomps on people. We're playing on hard mode. That is the only viable speedrun category because the other ones don't let you play the whole game. Really fun choice there by Acclaim. So yeah, playing on hard mode. Mostly it means the enemies are going to try to dodge me a lot. Great. It's super fun. We're going to mash right through the narrative. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. Trust me, you're not missing a lot. And I will tell Dave to get started in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so here we are. This is probably the thing I screw up the most in the game, the strat right at the beginning, and we got it. So, oh, sort of. That's fine. That works just fine for me. So, at any given time in the game, we're going to have, more or less, 2 people on screen. And one of them is the aggressor, and one is the non-aggressor. Now, they'll both walk towards you, but one of them, this guy, is going to keep sidestepping away from me, so he'll just kind of like stand in front of you and not actually engage with you. And sometimes for a speedrun purpose, you want him to take your punches because he's the guy who's closest to you and you want to go as fast as possible, but the game wants to waste your time and get away from you, so that little sidestep nonsense he was doing there for me did slow me down, but one thing you can do to get around it is get punched in the face. How about that? You can kind of stun lock them by doing a punch. So even though that guy was the non-aggressor, he still went after me because if they're standing directly in front of you, they will still attack you. Oh, there's that crouch I was talking about. A lot of this game is in, excuse me, timing, so you'll notice that every once in a while I'll just get kind of quiet while I'm trying to pay attention to the timing. Here's the boss that's coming up, and there's no visual cue for when he's going to spawn in, so I just kind of have to have good timing, otherwise I'll miss and get punched. That was an input failure where I pressed A and nothing happened, which also happens in this game. There's only 2 buttons, and still things go wrong sometimes. So we punch this guy to stun him and turn around and give him an uppercut. If you don't do that, you might miss him. Otherwise, we're just gonna do a little jog through the subway here, beating up people as we go. The inputs for success here are pressing A and B to do a crouch, and then either A or B while you are near an enemy to stomp on them. It's not extremely clear where it defines near, so sometimes I'll be over someone's body and I'll just do a punch. That means that I failed that input. It happens. Other than that, this is most of the game. It's a lot of memorizing which enemy to attack first of the 2, and which one is where they're going to spawn in. The other thing that I glossed over, but we've already seen it in action, is that enemies that have... Oh, okay. Enemies that have weapons have more health than enemies that don't. So, the best way to deal with that, well, there's 2 ways you can deal with that. I like to do the 2-punch, then go into the normal combo, but you can also alternate your attacks between enemies. But remember, if you're going to do that, that someone is going to be the non-aggressor and they're going to try to get away from you when you're trying to do that. So the game will actively try to thwart your plans to be successful. Oh, we got a dodge. Another speed tech that I'm going to be doing is trying to attack enemies to the right when I'm walking to the right. Your walk speed is quite slow, and you want to try to limit walking as much as possible. Here's some water. You can knock people into the drink there, and you can also get yourself knocked into the drink. I don't think it's particularly faster, but if enemy movement happens to work out in such a fashion where you get around them and knock them to the left, you can knock them over the edge. And aside from that, there's really not a whole lot else to talk about in the game. The music is really good. I am kind of surprised that this game got reskinned and they felt like they needed to redo the graphics and music. So they felt like the original music was too Japanese, I guess. This guy's got a gun. If he gets an attack off on me, he'll knock me all the way across the screen. So let's not let him do that. We are almost halfway through the game. We get this world map here to show how well we're doing. We're heading towards that building on the left. That's the goal. To be honest with you guys, I took a nap before I started my run, and I had a nightmare that I started my run, but it was a Castlevania game, and I did not know what I was doing. And so I'd share that with you. I don't have any idea how to play any Castlevania game, so that was a real struggle. Okay, here we go. More of this. Oh, got him. So, yeah, we can talk about how, basically nobody ran this game, and I submitted it for Dave's event because nobody runs this game. Because I felt like what his M.O.O.S.E event needed was more obscure nonsense, and that's what, I thrive on, so here we are. A month ago, before I started working on this, my time was 21:11, and now I'm down to 18:40. Baze saw me running this game and decided he was also going to run the game, and now he has the world record at 18:13, I think. Oh, here's the chainsaw guy. If you're wearing headphones, I apologize for the sound of the chainsaw, but we will get through it together, I promise. Oh, it's okay. I just had to get away from him. So yeah, this run got a lot faster in a very short period of time. There's not a ton that can be done to optimize it from here on out, I don't think, but it can be probably 17, somewhere in the 17-minute range, I think would be the fastest you could play the game, minus someone finding some weird game-breaking glitch. Which there aren't really any in effect here. We do, right now I just did something where I despawned a guy. You couldn't tell. I also got whipped in the face, which was just an unfortunate side effect of I landed right in front of the non-aggressor and he decided to put me in my place. Okay, we took that guy out as quick as possible. That was good. Move toward the door. There we go. The subway level looked very similar to the previous subway level. Don't worry about it. I'm sure we're in a totally different area. So this is that thing I was talking about earlier where you could, if you wanted to, trade uppercuts between these enemies, and you do 2 uppercuts instead of the punch-punch uppercut stomp combo. I guess I will do that now because I hit that guy with the wrong thing. Whether or not one thing is faster than the other, I think they're pretty much about the same usually, because enemies will just keep walking towards you regardless of what you're doing. Punch, and walk to the right as close as you can to the edge of the screen. There you go. We are 2/3 of the way there. We're almost done. We're heading towards the final segment. This is actually after these boys. All right, nice dodge. That guy almost whipped me. So, like, if he decides to whip me while I'm getting up over his unconscious friend, then there's nothing I can do. I will just take that whip. So I think these 2 boys are actually one of the more difficult things to deal with in the game, and you saw how I got beat up there, because they load on top of each other, and while you're attacking one, the other one attacks you. It doesn't matter, like, really how you approach it. You can move off to the left to try to get them to move away from the right edge of the screen. You're losing time getting them to walk towards you, but, you know, it's safer. And I didn't do that, but that's okay. I got beat up instead. We've got some boys coming in over here. Sometimes you get thrown because the boss music starts, but you're not actually facing the boss yet. So that was, you know, what happened there. I had a little moment of indecision. Here comes the ninja. The ninja is the worst, so let's hope we don't see him at all. Don't you hate when you have to fight a ninja in a subway? Alright. So the ninja will disappear and randomly reappear somewhere else on the screen. You have to wait every time he does it. It's awful. So it's one of the biggest sources of time loss in the run. Get good at that, because if the ninja disappears, probably you're just gonna reset. This guy. Did have a glitch earlier, last night actually, where I had 2 of those guys with baseball bats spawn on the right, which I've never seen happen before, and it completely wrecked me because I didn't know what to do with it. That was good. Sometimes, because those 2 guys spawn in on top of each other, you can, like, punch one guy and uppercut the other one, because you can only hit one guy at a time. So, you can think you hit the right guy, and you didn't, because they look the same. Oh. Nice dodge. Start walking left. We're gonna meet this guy as he spawns in and punch him. Oh! He got past me. Yeah, that's fine. I don't know if the car's that massive. I think it looks to scale. Oh, he's going up there. Sometimes they do that. They just kind of decide to walk up to the top of the screen and waste your time. Because random enemy behavior is fun. Oh, I was a little too early, so we're gonna get sat on by this landlord guy. I don't know the lore of this guy. None of the bosses are in the rulebook. I actually looked up the manual for the first time last night. It does not really explain the lore any better than the game does. We are... Canonically, this takes place after Double Dragon 2 on NES or arcade, which is confusing because it's also called Double Dragon 2. But it makes reference to how Marion gets shot, so... definitely it takes place after that game. Oh! Alright. We're at the final stage. This is the longest stage in the game. And, probably where things will go the most wrong because of reasons we'll get to later. So anyway, the lore of the game is that there are rival dojos happening. I just walked to the left because I was in a different place. So don't mind that minor time loss where I just stood there doing nothing. Yeah, we're at some dojo and someone frames us for murder, and we're out to clear our name by going to the streets and beating up everyone on the streets. It's a very Double Dragon situation. Oop. One more wave here before we get on the elevator. As soon as we get on the elevator, we're gonna have a little bit of a frenetic movement situation where we're going to hope that we don't get knifed in the face, which is probably usually a good goal, but here we go. We're gonna go up and down, and give him the uppercut. Wait for him to get up, uppercut him again. Okay, so this hallway sucks. We're gonna fight a bunch of these tall boys. There's a lot of ways to handle this, but I like to apparently go in the wrong direction, because the game did not feel like I pressed right on the D-pad, which does happen. So the fastest thing to do would be to trade uppercuts. Remember that we talked about how one of these two guys at any time doesn't want to face me, except when they're in front of you like that. Another thing I have not mentioned at all is the... I'm too close to him. That's fine. The screen transition, which is the actual final boss of the game. Because anytime you are about 2/3 of the way to the right, and the camera can scroll over, you will... anytime you press right, your input actually moves the camera, not your character. So that can cause real problems, because if you're on that seam, and there's an enemy in front of you, you have no other inputs other than move camera, and you just get beat up. So that gets to be a real problem in that hallway specifically. So now we have a boss rush because, you know, it wouldn't be a good game if it didn't have a boss rush. That's just science. So what happened here and why I got beat up is because I pressed A, B, but the game said no you didn't. So I just punched, and now we get to just improvise. Okay, there we go. Let's hope that it doesn't do that again. So I want to do this little back and forth movement to them. You can hit them into the wall. It'll be a little bit faster because you aren't walking back and forth, but it's also more easy to screw up because of... Oh, there you go. We can see the ninja disappearing. Just on the first frame, he popped in. He decided he's leaving. I do not want to be on the right edge of the screen because we're going to have a lot of walking to do to get to the next boss. It's disappointing, but you know what? We gotta just be grateful that the ninja only disappeared once, because he can disappear over and over again. We're gonna get revenge on this landlord for sitting on us earlier. One more. Oh, that was it. Okay, so here we go. We are auto-scrolling our way to the final boss, and a cutscene. We get to sit through about a minute of dialogue. I'm showing off the kicks. You can see how slow the kicks are in this game. They are also, technically, an option. Here we go! We're getting the lore. Here's Gordon, who I think is a dojo instructor, but he's dressed like a police chief. I didn't do it! Believe me! Oh, yeah. But we found your gun. Next to the body. He also wrote your name. Someone is trying to nail me. Nail you. And who do you think it is? here you go. Here's the final boss. He presumably killed some other dojo instructor. He is also a dojo instructor. I think everyone in this scene is a dojo instructor. So that's the lore. He wants to take over the Scorpions, and we're gonna try to stop him from doing that by beating him up over this nice rug that he's got in his apartment. So, oh, he got away from me, and he's showing off the kicks. It's fine, we get back into it. The main thing that's happening here is we are fighting the screen transition. You see how it keeps nudging to the right a little bit because of that thing I was talking about where the camera keeps wanting to move to the right every time I try to turn around to attack this guy. So you have to be, like, really specific about how you're moving to try and stop him from doing that. Try and just beat him up as fast as you can. Otherwise he'll get away from you, and that is time. 1919 is not a bad time. Billy, sorry, I should have believed you. Boss, we can't just give up the Scorpions. We'll have to fight for it. That's it. That's the lore. So, Gordon is probably going to be okay. They're going to embrace for a long time because these credits are quite long. He got kicked in the back of the head, but he doesn't look too good. That's Double Dragon 2 on Game Boy. It's a Kunio-kun game in Japan. He might be dead, I'm gonna be honest with you. This game is, I would say, a good entry-level speedrun. The only reason I ended up playing it is because I was speedrunning all the Double Dragons when I started running games, and that was a mistake. But, you know, if you're looking for something that is generally straightforward, there's only 2 buttons. Usually they cooperate and do what they're told to do. It's not that, you know, like, the music is good. It's, you know, as long as you don't have to do any crazy mashing or anything. It's just like a memory thing and timing. And yeah, it's alright. This game is aggressively okay. I don't really want to play it anymore, but I also am not mad if someone else says that they want to play the game. Like, alright, sure, go for it. That's all I got to say about it. Hope people enjoyed this, whatever it is, and I hope it fit right in with what the spirit of M.O.O.S.E is trying to get across. So, we gotta take Gordon to the hospital. Alright, that's it. Take care, everybody.